Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday today. So, time's flying by. We have quite a few things we gotta get covered today, which include Digihost providing their production update along with Stronghold, Iris Energy, and Terrawolf. So it's gonna be a long video again today. Chapter's gonna be down in the bottom for you guys. You guys can take a look at those that interest you the most and skip to the ones that don't really interest you. So that's easy for you guys to do. And then we'll take a look at also Bitcoin, what's going on with them, and the miners at the end of the video as well. And we'll kind of talk about what's going on with the economy a little bit as well at the end. Okay. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research and invest in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And let's take a look at our first story here, which is obviously going to be on Digihost. But if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And here we go. So Digihost reports on energy curtailment programs and provides August 2023 production updates. So with them, it's pretty simple. They don't provide too much information as far as their production, but we do have some information, so we'll get into it here. So during the past month, Digihost participated and continues to actively participate in a variety of load curtailment programs that reduce BTC mining costs, as summer capacity pricing has been historically high. By contributing and performing in these load reduction programs, the company has seen a reduction in its BTC mining costs, in addition to being able to provide crucial grid reliability to surrounding electrical customers. So that's fine. Getting the cost reduced is always great. And they reported that they mined approximately 70 BTC. They also include what they, I believe, generated from the reduction in electricity credits, revenue, whatever that might be for them. That's included in this number here as well, because when I use this number in my spreadsheet, I couldn't get to the point where they would be making the whatever the amount was revenue for it based on the network hash rate, Bitcoin average price in August as well. So I believe that they are including other things in there as well, and not only just their BTC production. So we'll take a look at that. Other than that, there's not much here to really go over otherwise. You guys can take a look at it yourselves when you have time. But let's take a look at the spreadsheet that we do have for Digihost. I'll go over all the details and kind of try to explain things as best as I can. So Digihost right now has about 28.6 million shares outstanding. Market cap is about 28.6 million. Their stock price is at $1 right now. They've done kind of mixed results here on the 12 weeks, 8 weeks, 4 weeks, and 1 week. So they're down 27% from 12 weeks ago. They're down 52% from 8 weeks ago. And they're down 33% from 4 weeks ago. Last week, they were actually up 9.18%. I think it's because they were down just so much in the last 12 weeks that, just had a little bit of a spike in the price. Current hash rate, they didn't report it on their sheet, so I'm guessing that they are still at 913 petahash. They are saying that they're supposed to be growing to 2 exahash with everything that's going to be installed and everything else. But I have them currently at 1.095 exahash. This is based on what they provided us with information for what they purchased. So anything additional to that, we'll have to get news results for that. BTC production here, you can see that in August, like they reported 70, which I don't believe is accurate. In July was at 55. They also mined in June 70, but their hash rate has been the same here for the last couple months. So I find it hard to believe that they actually mined the same amount in June as they did in August. So that's why I'm thinking that there's a difference here in the numbers, okay? Which would be nice if they provided just the numbers that they mined for Bitcoin and added into their press release. Hey, we also got 16 Bitcoin, whatever it might be, from energy curtailment. Okay, HODL, we don't know about HODL. HODL is at 19.28 as it was last reported from them. They didn't report it on this one as well. So that would be nice if they reported that as well. They did provide just the numbers, which kind of makes it hard to figure out because they include cash and Bitcoin equivalents in that. So that's not as easy to come up with. But down here, you can see the monthly difference as far as what they mined. BTC HODL, you can see that has come down way down here from last year, which was 161 Bitcoin, down to 19 right now, approximately. Bitcoin efficiency here, BTC per exahash, that went up to 76.67, like I said, based on what they have installed, the 913 petahash, and the network hash rate increasing. This is not accurate number for them. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get this more accurate, and I may just do that by what I did down below, and I'll show you guys here in a second here. BTC sold, I'm guessing that they sold basically what they mined here in August, 70 Bitcoins. Hash rate, as you can see here, has been pretty much stuck here since April at 913 petahash. Monthly BTC mined revenue has come down to, it was lower in July, 1.65 million, so they're up at 1.95. But that also, I think, includes their revenue from the curtailing part of the business as well for the energy side of things. Hash rate difference, you can see that. BTC sold value, how much they sold on that. Last 4 quarters revenue, we talked about that in the quarterly results part of things. If we look at their institutions and analyst ratings here, we still don't have we still don't have any analyst ratings for them. It's still 0 across the board here. We do have institutions numbers for them though. It's 29 institutions, so that did increase for them. The shares did increase as well, so that's good to see there. They're at 8.9% owned by institutions. Still one of the lowest numbers that we've seen here on some of the miners that we cover. Okay, looking down here, so they reported 70 Bitcoin being mined. That got us to about 1.949 million in revenue based on the average Bitcoin price in August. Now, I was off on my numbers here for the last couple of quarters, it looks like. So they've always included electrical reduction or curtailment credits in there, or revenue, whatever they're getting from that. And that's always skewing my numbers in the BTC that they report as being mined. So for this current quarter, what I'm trying to do is I'm taking the basically 91%, since I was off by 8.7, almost 9%. I'm just taking 91% of what the report is being generated here, the 1.65 million, and multiplying that times 0.91 to get to the 1.5 million, possibly for their own self-mining here only. Okay, this is an estimated number here. We'll see how close we get to that when they actually report the Q3 numbers. Okay, but I did the same thing in July and I did the same thing in August here. So I updated that so I could possibly get better numbers for us. That's what that's based on. Now, that does not base the numbers here, obviously, on the Bitcoin being mined. And that's kind of messing things up a little bit, maybe up top a little bit. So I'll have to see if I can maybe do something with this as well. Put another column in here where it's BTC calculated for what they possibly could have been mining on that. Okay, but that's something that's a work in progress there. We know they didn't install any miners this month or in August, so nothing has really changed there. But you can see here that revenue definitely changed here for them when I multiplied it times 0.9. This is kind of what I wanted to get to. It was with a 1.774 million instead of the 1.9 million something. And then this actually worked out for me where they were basically operating for 29.85 days on average here across all the miners that are installed. If I had them at the regular number of 1.9 million here, and I plugged in the 31 days, I was still short. So I knew the numbers were off somehow. Because for everybody else, the numbers work out pretty well for me, where they're either just curtailing a little bit or they're pretty close to right on the money there. So I knew something was off here. So that's being corrected there. And looking at the numbers up here, then we can see that looking at the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we're in, P of 5, not a lot of growth left in. They're going to possibly double to the 2 exahash from the 1 exahash that are, well, close to the 1 exahash that they are at now. Will get us to about $1.72 to $2.59. They're currently at $1. I think they're a little bit undervalued right now based on this information, but because of the lack of the growth, I think that's maybe why they're not being as appreciated by investors, I guess you could say, to the higher amounts here. But we've also seen other companies as well that should be valued a heck of a lot higher, and they're not, and that's based on, just the fundamentals that are right now in the market. So, but going forward, looking at the August numbers here, what they mined, multiplying that, and I think I'd change that over to, so that's using the numbers that I think that they're mining here. That got us to $1.47 to $2.21, so that's a little bit closer to what investors actually have them at, okay? Let me know if you guys agree with this. If you don't agree with this, let me know down in the comments below. Love chatting with you guys there, and they just got to grow. Unfortunately, I think once the halving event comes, as with all these small miners, they really, really need to grow into the halving event as much as they can, because costs are going to double, revenue is going to shrink. It's going to be not a pretty sight. They do have, however, a pretty good balance sheet right now. Debt to equity is pretty good here at 0.36 right now. Current ratio is also pretty low at 0.68, 0.63. So that's good there, I believe. Right, higher. The current ratio we want higher is better. So current ratio, assets minus current, higher is better. So current ratio should be higher, I think. They did take on some debt here, pay off some things and things like that. But I'll leave it at that. It's just, they're a small miner. They need to really grow as best as they can before the halving event. Okay, like I said, let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought of them. And let's take a look at the next one here, which is going to be on Stronghold. So Stronghold Digital Mining announces August 2023, can't speak, 2023 Bitcoin mining update. And here's the update that we do have here. So in late August, Stronghold achieved a hash rate capacity of 4 exahash as expected. 1,135 micro BT Watts miners, M50 and M50S miners, and 4,000 Cannon Avalon A1346 miners have been delivered, and all are either plugged in or expected to be plugged in imminently. So they did increase their hash rate, which is good to see there. The company expects a considerable increase in hash rate in the month of September and over 20% hash rate growth in the fourth quarter of 2023 when compared to the third quarter of 2023. So that would be good there as well. Stronghold mined 219 Bitcoin in August and generated approximately $500,000 in energy revenue, which represents the equivalent of approximately 16 additional Bitcoin based on the average price of Bitcoin during the month. So that was good there, but they don't obviously include that as revenue. They include that as an expense where they get credits for it. Okay, so it's a negative expense for them basically on it. And that's it. That's all we get for them. Not a lot. No HODL update or anything like that, which is unfortunate. So we don't know any information on that. So let's take a look at Stronghold here really quick, and we'll get into the other two. So Stronghold, there it is. Okay, Stronghold right now has about 7.4 million shares outstanding. Their stock price is at $4.46. Market cap is at 32 million right now. Current hash rate is at 4 exahash. Future hash rate, don't know what that's going to be really. I have it at 4.095 based on what they just reported as far as being delivered. And there's probably some more other minings that they will be buying, but because they've only started reporting their production updates in the last couple months, we don't know a lot of information on them as far as what is going to be happening down the road with growth-wise. Okay, I think they reported they want to get to 6 exahash or something like that, 6 or 7 exahash by the end of the year. So that's maybe where the growth is going to be happening there for them. HODL 50 is from their Q2 report, I believe, that they have BTC HODL 50 roughly. Their BTC production here, you can see has been kind of up and down here as of April when they started reporting their production updates again. They were reporting through last year, but with the bear market and everything else, they stopped reporting somewhere around, I think it was July, August of last year. So this is the data that we do currently have, which is missing a lot of months, unfortunately. But this is what we do have. So they've been kind of up and down here, but kind of holding steady right around a little bit above 200 or so. So that's pretty good there. Monthly difference from month to month, you can see what they mined here. BTC HODL, like I said, we don't know what that is. I'm guessing it's around 50 here. BTC per exahash efficiency has come down to 54.69, which is kind of what I expect to see with all of these miners going down in efficiency because the network hash rate does continue to go up. BTC sold, I'm guessing they sold pretty much everything because they didn't provide the HODL again. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Hash rate has been increasing here recently. It is now at 4 exahash. It was at 3.4 something on that one. So that's a good increase in that. BTC mined revenue has also increased to a high of 6.25 million in June. Then it's come down in July and a little bit more here in August as well. But we should see a spike up, I believe, in revenue potentially in September, depending where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin goes down to like 23,000, 22,000, revenue might be actually down for that. Hash rate difference, you can see how much that has changed month over month. BTC sold value on that one. Last 4 quarters, we talked about that already when we did the quarterly results here. The good thing is, let me see here, that I think this should be probably 55 instead of 45 because the shares increased here. So this should be 55, I believe, but I'll double check that again. Institutions increased by about 3, and shares increased also. Not a lot of shares with them, 367,000 shares, roughly at about 4.64% here. So that is pretty low. That's even lower, I think, than Digihost was. But we do have some analyst ratings for them, and the analyst ratings are 1 strong buy, 1 buy rating, 1 hold rating, 0 underperform, 0 sell. Price target is still $23.50 for the high, $17.17 for the average, and $8 for the low. Now, the miners that we did get installed here are the ones that they reported as having gotten in, which was the 4,000 of the Avalons and the 1,135 of the M50s, M50Ss as well. I averaged out the hash rate out between those two here, and it got 119 terahash roughly. Don't know exactly where that's going to be at as far as each class of miners, but this is kind of what I have it at. And we installed those, and they were operating for about 10 days. They said I think they installed those towards the end of the month. The other miners were running for about 25 days or so. That got us to the 6.09 million, which I believe corresponds with, 6.09 based on the Bitcoin average price as well, okay? So that's where those numbers are coming in through. And then as far as what we're looking at here, looking at the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we're in, which is an estimated number, we're looking at $19.81 to $29.71 with a PE of 5 right now. And the way that I grade the PEs or rate the PEs on these miners is I'm looking for growth. If I see a lot of growth, they'll get a higher PE value than somebody that's growing less, okay? They're currently at $4.46. They will be undervalued, but the concern here is obviously the debt. They do have a lot of debt, and we can see here that, let me see, total current liabilities is at 29 million. Their current assets is at 17.47 million. So that's obviously a concern there for them, and that's possibly why they are where they are. Also with them not turning off, giving back a lot of the miners last year during the bear market because of Bitcoin price coming down and everything else. That I think has maybe soured some investors as well into getting into them. But let me know what you guys think. This is definitely a high risk, high reward potential here, depending where Bitcoin goes in the next 6 to 12 months. With just the way things look, with the way that things just look right now, it's a tough one to get into. If we look at their cost to mine Bitcoin, which is over here, I have it minus depreciation at 30,000 at the end of Q2. And that is based on, what are we looking at here? We're looking at just the calculated crypto mining expenses, 19 million on that. And that includes, let's see here, what else is that? Divided by the number, so that's 19 million. That is based on operating and maintenance, general and administrative as well, and depreciation and amortization. And it should be probably taken out, no, general administrative, operating, and fuel, sorry. So it's those 3 that are included in this cost here, potentially for their self-mining only, and trying to figure out, based on the percentage of the revenue they got in for their self-mining compared to the other things, that's kind of how I'm calculating it here. But with that, that's pretty doggone high. So the 30,000 roughly or so. When we get a reduction in the Bitcoin supply, when the halving happens, that's going to probably double on them. So that's going to be a really tough spot for them to be in. So that's something to be mindful of as well. Okay. Now going forward, looking at the August numbers that they have for revenue, we got 7 months left before the halving event. So I'm multiplying that times 7 at the full 100%. And then after the halving in, the 5 months after that at 50%, that gets us to $19.58. And I'm using a P of 20 here. I probably should be using a P of 5 here. On that one, that's probably incorrect here. Why don't we fix that right now? So that's terrible. If we should go into Stronghold and do that. And let's see what do we get here. P of 5. I don't even think that matters really. And 1958. Table 5, yep. Okay, so $29.37 and $19.58, roughly based on this. And table 2, where is that coming from? That should be coming in from the same amount, from the share amount. Yep, okay, so that's good there. All right, just double checking my work. There's a lot of numbers here. I mean, you guys can see all this. I mean, there's probably over 10,000 figures here and all that I have to deal with. So just want to make sure that was correct. So like I said, like to see them grow more, pay down their debt, really cut costs. They really have to do that, especially with general administrative, get those costs cut as much as they can before the halving event, because after the halving event, I think they are going to have a hard time possibly surviving, or at least they're going to probably, I don't know, maybe cut out the business for Bitcoin mining in total. I don't know. It's just a tough spot that they're in right now. And I think maybe the investors are also looking at it that way. That's why it's priced the way it is right now. Okay? Something to be mindful of. All right, so that's it for Stronghold. Let's take a look at Iris Energy here. So Iris Energy announces monthly investor update for August 2023. And here's what we have for them. Average operating hash rate, 5,493 petahash, which is 5.49 exahash. I hate when companies provide the average hash rate. I want to know what is the installed or operating hash rate that they have. So the way that they are doing that is the average that they're getting is basically how many days did they operate, and then how many days did they not operate, and then using the average of that, and that's kind of how they're getting it. and it's fluid. It's always changing from month to month, which is never great because we really want to know what their operating hash rate is, not average. So I really wish they would change that. But it also, I see why they do it because it makes their numbers look better than what they really are, unfortunately. And I'm trying to think if there's another company that does that. I think there might be a couple other ones that do this as well. It just drives me crazy. Bitcoin mined was 410, so it's actually, I believe, down from the prior month. And then here's something interesting here. Free electricity at Childress in August. Trying to wrap my head around this one. They said negatively realized electricity cost of 8 cents per kilowatt hour. So they're actually getting paid that, which, okay, I can understand that they're getting paid for electricity that they don't use when they curtail. But how is it a negative realized electricity cost? Do they actually generate more in electricity revenue compared to Bitcoin mining? Based on the numbers that I'm seeing here, I don't see that. So I don't know. I'm just confused by that one. Same thing with this one. Company was effectively paid $28,000 per Bitcoin to take power at Childress and generated a further $28,000 per Bitcoin in mining revenue, i.e. 56 mining profit per Bitcoin at Childress, which also is kind of confusing to me. If the company was effectively paid to take power, so were they paying them to take the power? Because that's the way it sounds like to me, like they were getting paid by the power generator to take the power. Seems kind of weird. It should have been more, I think, maybe written out as company was effectively paid for releasing power to the grid at Childress and generated further 28K per Bitcoin in mining revenue. So that's really a strange way to put it. But that's what we have here. They talk about the Intel purchase that they did, or not Intel, sorry, initial purchase of the 248 NVIDIA H100 GPUs. We covered that in a previous video with them. And then they go into other things here as well. We're not going to really get into it. The company always, gosh, I'm tired and I'm stumbling here. Sorry, guys. The company was able to capitalize on heightened energy market volatility, dynamically trading Bitcoin mining profitability against electricity market pricing to drive down net electricity costs. So that is good there. That's a better explanation here than what they have over here. Trying to still wrap my head around that one. Okay, and let's see what else we have here. If there's anything else, I don't think there's anything else here. No. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that I do have for them, and we'll get into Riot here. Riot is also pretty interesting. So Iris Energy here, let's see, where is it? It is right there. Okay. So Iris Energy has currently 54.9 million shares outstanding. Stock price is at $4.49. Market cap is at 246 million right now. So definitely much better price than Digihost or Stronghold right now. Their performance here has been kind of mixed here in the last 12 weeks. They're up 33% from 12 weeks ago. They're down 36% from 8 weeks ago. They're down 19% from 4 weeks ago, but they were up last week about 8.85%. So it's kind of mixed right now. Current hash rate, I have them at 5.587. Their future hash rate is supposed to be about 5.7. I think they're pretty close to that, if not already installed completely with that. So they do have a little bit there. And they said that they're going to be growing to possibly, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong on this, somewhere around 9 exahashes is what they're trying to get to. Okay, so that's still not too far away. It's about basically 3.3 exahash from where they are right now. Now, BTC production here, you can see peaked in May, and that's based on the network transaction fees that were added in May. They were at 508. Excuse me. June, they were 428. July, they were at 423. Now in August, they're at 410. This, I would expect to see this because if they're not growing, the network hash rate has been increasing. That's going to reduce their production monthly, plus with curtailing and things like that. So that's kind of what we would expect. Month over month difference here, you can take a look at that. BTC hodl, they don't hodl anything. They sell everything. BTC per exahash efficiency is still pretty efficient here at 73.38, but it has been coming down, which is what I would expect. BTC sold, you can take a look at that. Hash rate, like I said, the hash rate has been pretty much steady here for the last couple months here. And they had a really huge jump here from March to April, which was nice to see as well. But overall, they've been kind of steady here as of now. Bitcoin revenue, you can see here that they bottomed out in December with 2.08 million, sorry. They peaked in May with 13.97, which was a great month for them and a lot of other miners. June was 11.88, July was 12.73, and then August was down to 11.42. So that's the way things have worked out for them. Hash difference month over month, you can take a look. BTC sold value, pretty much whatever they generated is what they sold. Last 4 quarters revenue, we talked about that in the quarterly results numbers. if we look at the institutions and analyst ratings, we can see here that institutions did increase, which is great to see, to 59 from 48. And then shares also increased to 17.4 million from 12.2 million. Percentage went up to 31.7 from 22.3. That's also good there. This is also really good as far as analyst ratings for them. So 2 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 0 underperform, 0 sell. And the price targets actually went up quite substantially here to $24 from the $13. It's a nice jump there. Looks like the analysts are finally valuing them, I think, more accurately. The average went up to 11.33, and the low is now still 8. So that's not a big deal there. We know they didn't install any miners here, but they did curtail a little bit here. Not a lot. In August, they had them at 30.22 days in operation to get to the 11.4 million in revenue. So pretty good performance there for Iris Energy right now. Okay. Looking at the numbers that we do have up here, the last 3 quarters, current quarter, that's an estimated number we're looking at with a P of 15, $12.93 to $19.39. And then if we look at the current numbers for August for their revenue, multiplying it times 7 before the halving event, and then 50% after the halving for 5 months, we get them to $14.80 to $22.20 right now. So I definitely think that they are way undervalued from where they should be. And the reason for that might be because of the special purpose vehicles that they had, where they basically returned approximately almost 2.5 exahash at the end of October because those were not profitable based on how much they paid for them or whatever it might be. But those special purpose vehicles did not cash flow positively, so they had to return those. And I think maybe this is why investors are a little skittish right now, a little hesitant to really get into them because of that and how much they actually dropped in hash rate and everything else. I think they did the right thing, but nonetheless, I think they're being maybe a little bit punished by investors as it is. But institutions are definitely buying into them, which is good to see here. But yeah, $4.49 to where I think they should be. Definitely way undervalued. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And let's take a look at Riot. Riot's going to be the last one here. So Riot announces August 2023 production and operational updates. They had some wild numbers here. So Bitcoin produced was 333, which was definitely way down from where it was in July, 410. But Bitcoin held did increase here a little bit here to 7,309, which is good. Bitcoin sold, they sold only 300 compared to 400, so that's good as well. And deployed hash rate has stayed the same here. They've been pretty much stuck at that for quite a few months as well. And then power credits. This is just blowing my mind here. They generated 24.2 million in power credits in August compared to only 6 million in July. Demand response credits also went up to 7.4 million from 1.8. We obviously had a very, very hot month in August down in Texas. And obviously the price of energy went way up. So they definitely benefited from that. The only thing that's questionable on this, well, not really questionable, but for me at least, is this does not get reported as revenue. It gets reported as credit on the expense line item. So it's hard to figure out what they should be actually worth, and I'll show you guys what I mean by the numbers here when we look at them. Because if this was actual revenue for them, this would be a huge benefit to them in the bottom line of things, which it still is. But it's just hard to figure out where they should be valued at. Okay, going down here, I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, there's nothing else down here. Okay. So that's the numbers that we do have. Let's take a look at my spreadsheet, and we'll call it a day. Now, we'll take a look at the miners and Bitcoin really quick, see what's going on there. And I'll give you guys some thoughts also on what's happening in the economy a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Riot. So Riot right now has 185 million shares outstanding. Stock price is at $11.24. Market cap is at 2.082 billion right now. Performance-wise, kind of mixes well for them from the last 12 weeks. They're up 6.2%. From 8 weeks ago, they're down 42%. From 4 weeks, they're down 27%, and then last week they're actually up 6.46%. Current hash rate has been stuck at pretty much 10.7 exahash for a couple months here. Future hash rate right now is supposed to be at 20 based on what they reported as being what they're buying, but they can get to even more than that. They can get to like 30 exahash if they wanted to, but that hasn't been basically bought yet. So they do have a lot of growth left in them, which is great to see. Bitcoin HODL at 7.3 thousand Bitcoin right now, pretty good value there. But you can see here that their BTC production has peaked in January of last year, and it has been coming down here ever since then. I mean, it's basically half of what they had in more than half than what they had in January of last year. So that's not good, but they are getting a lot of credits for the electricity. So that can offset things a lot. Monthly difference from month to month, you can take a look at that. HODL has been also increasing here quite nicely over the last 12 months. They're up approximately, what is that, about 600 Bitcoins being added to their HODL stack here in the last 12 months, from 6.7 to 7.3. And then their BTC per hash efficiency way down because they have a lot of hash rate, but they curtail the heck out of it. So that's obviously going to have an impact on it as well. Here's what they sold each month. Hash rate, you can see that they've been pretty much stuck at 10.7 for the last 3 months. Prior to that, they were at 10.5 for 3 months. Prior to that, they were pretty much at 9.7 for 3 months. So the growth has definitely kind of stabilized here, and we'll probably get a lot more growth here going into Q3, well, maybe not Q3, but Q4 and Q1 of next year, and Q2 as they work to get to 20 exahash. Revenue also, this is based on Bitcoin being mined here. So they peaked in May with 18.59 million, and that was benefit of transaction fees for Bitcoin. But ever since then, they've been coming down here, which is not good, you know. But they do get the power credits, which, like I said, that makes it tough to value them properly. Hash rate difference month over month, BTC sold value, how much is sold, last 4 quarters revenue. You can take a look at that as well. We talked about that in the quarterly results, as always. And then coming down here to institutions and analysts, that actually increased as well to 346 institutions. Shares is now 77 million from 76 million, so that's good. Well, it's up a little bit here. It's about, what, 70,000 shares. And percentage actually went down here to 38.88, and that's based on probably dilution that happened. And then we have 3 strong buy ratings, 7 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. Price target actually went down on them, $23 from $24. Average actually went up to 19.79 from 17.31, and the low actually went up to $16.5 from $13. So that's kind of good there. The high actually went down a little bit, and we'll take a look at some of the other numbers here. As far as their curtailment for this month, yeah, they curtailed like crazy in August. So in August, I have them operating approximately 13.3 days out of the month. The month had 31 days, so they were basically almost two-thirds of the month shut down, curtailing, which is just wild. But that's how we got to the 9.274 million, which is based on the Bitcoin average price for August, which we have here, based on the 333 Bitcoins that they did mine. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at here. And then here's where I'm trying to figure out how to value them properly with all the power credits that they get, because it does add it to the bottom line at the end. Even though it doesn't get reported as revenue, it gets reported as a expense, but a credit on that. And you can see that down here below if you look at their operations here. So revenues, we have mining, hosting, energy, other revenue, and then total revenue, obviously. And then expenses, we have power curtailment credits here being listed as a negative. So that's basically a credit there. Yep, being as a negative there. Trying to see if there's anything else. Engineering, hosting, casualty. There might be another one here, power curtailments. But that's basically what's happening here. So it's hard to say that they're going to be generating with the 30-some million that they generated here, 31.7 million, based on the 2 different types of credits they get. That would make them up to be about 40.9 million in revenue. But I just don't know how to do that. So if you guys have any advice on this or any input, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Because right now I think that the way I'm valuing them as it is, with just the Bitcoin mining, I have it at $8.65 to $12.98. I was thinking maybe if I could increase the PE slider for them for the power credits that they get or something, I don't know, or use the actual numbers combined here. Instead of the 9.2 million, I should be using maybe the 40 million. Let me know what you guys think, because that would obviously have a huge impact on it, but we just don't have the data on it for the rest of it. So I have to do some research into that, as well as how much power credits they got for the prior months, at least the last 3 quarters. But based on that, I do think that they are undervalued right now, not fairly valued based on that, because they do get, like I said, a lot of power credits. And then going forward would be the same thing. Is how do you calculate how much would they get for power credits going forward, which that always is up and down. Last year they only got 7.8, or not last year. Last month they got 7.8 million in power credits, while this month in August they got 31.7 million. So it's a huge difference between that. So hard to calculate what they would actually get going forward, and that's why it's only at $4.75 to $7.13. So I need to do some work on this, try to figure out how to better value them. based on the power credits and the self-mining that they do as well. I may talk to some people that are in the know on this, and maybe they can point me in the right direction with this as well, okay? But I do believe that they are undervalued based on what they actually have and where they're going. I don't think this is an accurate representation of their actual numbers for them, okay? And that's based on the 31 million that they had power credits right now, so it's kind of screwing my things up. All right, but let me know what you guys think of Riot, obviously. And then, as always, all of these spreadsheets here are going to be available to my Patreon members. So thank you to everyone there. And I'll also do the screenshots for the YouTube members as well later on this week. I'll get those uploaded as well. You guys will be able to see that in the community posts later on. Okay, so that's where we're at with that. So let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners right now. And let me see here. What do I want to do? I want to, let's see here. This is, okay. There we go. So Bitcoin right now is at 25,718. We are continuing to slide down here, which some people are calling for Bitcoin to go down to as low as 22,000, 23,000, which, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen. Anything is possible with Bitcoin right now. And part of that is there's some fears by investors that, number one, with Saudi Arabia cutting production, gas prices are going to go up, meaning inflation is possibly going to go up. And then you also have the student loans that are going to be starting back up in next month, where payments are going to start coming in, where people are going to have to start making payments. That's going to take a lot of cash that was available to invest and things like that is going to be taken out. There's other, obviously, economy metrics that are happening that could point to us, well, investors being fearful as well. But inflation is one of them. Obviously, fuel prices is the other one. Student loans becoming due now as well. So there's a lot going against us, and we still have quite a ways before we get the spot Bitcoin ETF. We're still 7 months away from the halving event. So there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of FUD too as well. So we'll have to see how things go forward. But I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if it goes down to 23 or 22,000 in the next couple of weeks, couple of months before we start going back up. Things change around a little bit. And typically September has been a pretty bad month for Bitcoin. I think on average it's like 80% in the red, typically. So we'll have to see how that plays out also. But miners, for the most part, were in the red today. There were a couple in the green today as well. Bit Digital was in the green. CleanSpark was in the green. Iris Energy was in the green. Marathon was in the green. Riot Soluna was also in the green. And that's about it here on that one. So we'll have to see what happens going forward. We still have a long ways to go. Like I said, dollar cost average in as best you can before the halving, and then possibly even after the halving sometimes, because things could go down even after that before they actually start picking back up. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously, and I'll see you guys in the next one.